I'm gonna have announcements.
Here's an announcement. Oh, okay.
Right here. I'm from the Museum of Creativity. Flyers to share, and that's where the other, what you call it? Yeah. Where the other train layouts are. And
Your first name again?
I'm Carolyn Sadler. I do Barbie World. We are going to have a craftorama at the Skibbits on August 8th. We're trying to raise funds to get a handicap ramp into the museum. And I have flyers and brochures here that I can put out.
All right. Well, with that, let's just jump right into our announcements, because I know this is a busy week in Fort Scott. Always something going on. Does anyone have it all?
Morning, everybody. Brian Holt with Union State Bank. I don't always show off my legs at work, so.
Woo! Hold on, let me get a picture.
Okay.
Hold on.
Right after this, I'm going to prepare fireworks because tomorrow night we're doing our 21st annual July 3rd Independence Day Bash in Uniontown in the city park. And so I'd like to invite you all out. Starts at 6:30. We'll have hot dogs and chips and drinks. Trevor Holman and the Haymakers will be joining us this year, providing music for the evening, inflatables for the kids. We'll start fireworks about 9:45. So we'll see you there. Thank you.
Well, there are actually some people in this building this morning that may not know that my name is Carol and I work at Rick's. And in case you don't recognize the name, we sell cars. And trucks. And occasional boat or motorcycle. And I joke about when we have the coffee out there because I promise not to start your car while you're inside talking. So having said that, happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you so much, Eloise, for moving to Fort Scott. And we will always be supportive of you. Thank you. It's July, and I was asking last night, I said, Scott, do you have something to do with fireworks? And he said, yeah. I said, tell him, you think it's hot outside, come inside this room and see our deals. And there'll be fireworks when you sign your name on that piece of paper, I promise you. And having said that, happy 4th of July, everybody, and be safe.
I have two announcements now. I'm Christy Pollack. I'm the new secretary of the First United Methodist Church. It started a couple of weeks ago, and I'm pretty excited about that. But I want to invite you not this Saturday, but next Saturday, July 11th at 6 o'clock. We're having the Burning Couch and Revival. It's a concert. They're a trio. They do gospel music. They're from Nashville. And then on July 17th, which is a Friday, Ethan Smiley is going to talk about Laura Ingalls Wilder. And then we're going to have some representatives from the Presbyterian Manor, and they're going to talk about resizing. We all want more, but they're going to tell us how to be happy with what we have. But the best news is it's air conditioned in both events.
You trying to rub something in?
I know, I'm just saying.
So I actually have two announcements this morning. One of them is an apology because there was a typo on the gut punch flyer that went out that said it was only to the 1st and it was supposed to be until the 11th. First year doing a scavenger hunt. Just bear with us. Next year will be tons better. So there are some places that withdrew their ducks because of the flyer and withdrew them, and there are some places that are holding onto their ducks and still drink one day. And so there are still ducks out there who there's stuff now, and so keep trying if you want to keep doing that. Two, the Fort Scott summer reading is still going on. There's still the summer reading bingo for the adults, and the kids are getting together all the time on Tuesdays. Plus, we are getting our Fort's Story Tree Library came in this week, so hopefully by the end of next week we'll have that set up in the next week too. So that's a great addition, and that's from new services part of the funding program. So we're really excited about that. Thanks. Hi, I'm Dina from Bourbon County Fort Community, and we're gearing up for our next cycle of class. So it starts September 1st. And I just wanted to put a plug out to employers. Sometimes there's a stigma around what we do that it is just for people who are really struggling and barely getting by. But we go off of 200% of the poverty rate. So for a family of four, that's $66,000 a year. So that kind of changes the landscape sometimes when you think about who might be a good fit for our program. So if you have employees that maybe just struggle to get by, and it's not just financial, we do a lot of work on relational, emotional, mental, just different aspects. There's a lot of different resources that we talk about in our class. So if you're interested in more information, and you're recruiting for September 1 for our program, I wish I had time to share some of the stories and just the success that people are finding in our program. But if you want more information, I have flyers. I'd love to talk to you. Hello, I'm Nikki Regan at Lou's Ice Cream. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for the support we've received from the community. Our ice cream sales have been incredible since we began in December, and this week we actually started food. We've got loaded dogs, loaded nachos, panini, and salads available, and we just started that last night. So if you haven't been in, I encourage you to do this.
Good morning, I'm Jill Jaworski, Superintendent of Fort Scott National Historic Site. Just want to let you know on the 4th Saturday, if you want to hear a boom that's not a firecracker or a firework, please come over to the 4th. We will be doing historic cannon firing demonstrations at 10, 11, 2, thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, with that being said, I'll Ms. Lindsay and Bruce.
All right, guys. I'm Lindsay Madison. I'm the president and CEO of Fort Scott Area Chamber of Commerce. This is Leslie behind the camera. Thank you to Leslie for all she does. But first of all, last Friday was our golf tournament, a huge success. And thank you to all of our board members, volunteers, donors, sponsors of raffle items, sponsors, everybody that entered. It was a wonderful day, and thank you to the city of Fort Scott and the course since we had several inches of rain during the night before the tournament, and we're able to pull that off to happen. So thank you. Secondly, yesterday I think I emailed most everybody that either owns a building downtown or has a business downtown an update that as of July 1st, we are unofficially, I guess, officially a Kansas Main Street, designated Kansas Main Street community. And yesterday we hosted the director, Drew Simpson, all day here at Fort Scott. He just texted me a while ago how amazing the visit was and that he looks forward to being back someday soon. But there will be a more official announcement. He said probably in a couple of months. They have a couple other communities they are working with to bring into the program, and so he said an official announcement will come down the road. But good news that if any programs come up from now on that require to be a Main Street community or to be part of certain programs or grants that they have available, we can now qualify. So that's good news. Look forward to their resources. And then I just hope everyone has a great 4th of July weekend, takes part in all the things happening, and then look forward to the weekend after next. We have our Let's Flamingo downtown and around events, so where stores will have cool refreshments and hot deals. So take part in that. That's all I have. But with that, I would like to introduce
Mr. Al Meese. Al served our Main Street director some wonderful, well, and Nikki and her team, ice cream yesterday, so that really sweetened it up. So, and we had a great visit with Al about some of his thoughts and visions. So, thank you for that. But I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you all for showing. I don't think there's been half as many people in this building in the last 100 years. So this is a great deal. Now, we formed Fort Scott Railroad Museum. Don Bandler, Rick, and Andy just joined us as our grant writer and historian. So we'll get into that a little bit later. You've seen the railroad tracks out here. We have a Canadian caboose coming up from Houston. We hope to have, soon we arrange the funds, stick up a 7-Eleven. We'll put an observation car out here, which doesn't have dome rating, but open more. Has a bar on one end, just in the meeting area. John, Rick, and we're really going after some of the art that we want to put up, not so much art, but make this what it really was. It's a freight, wasn't a passenger. We've already got the telegraph. We had Josh Hickey come in and paint some kind of clip, so now it's a little cleaner. We've got a proposal coming in and put the restroom in the coal bin there. There are a lot of quick ideas. The reason I wanted everybody here today, we have Lindsay Bliss on for 1 year from today, the chamber coffee, to see what we've done in a year. So it's on us. It's a community thing. This is something we want to see Fort Scott really move out with. I mean, I've seen Rick in here, I'm accusing of living here, replacing window panes when it was raining, just so we start getting some more light in here. But they're having volunteers all the time, and we're trying to improve that. But I think you'll be surprised at some of the changes that are coming up. We really want to make this a go-to. We're right across the street from Chambers, so it should fit in there. There is, and you and I are transplants, carpetbagger, we think south. We could come in here, but some of the history we're finding out is just amazing. The history is worth. I wasn't aware of it. I'll bet you 90% of people in this room don't know the history. Some of the history of Fort Scott is really intriguing, really intriguing. So I encourage you all to, I forgot something here. I want to sum it up with our mission statement.
Keep one up here too.
It's written right over there, but I'm going to read it so you know it. Vision is to inspire curiosity, learning, and community pride by considering Fort Scott's rail legacy and offering meaningful experiences that deepen the public understanding of the region's role in shaping American transportation. That's us, guys. Let's go get it. So we have some little fundraising opportunities coming up, being on the caboose at several levels. You can own the railroad tie out there, we'll have a little glass tag for you, that'll come on out. And you really want to be cheap, we'll sell you a spike. Other than that,
Rick, do you want to come up and you were going to say a couple words about the bell, the meaning or the history of the bell?
yeah.
Well,
Briefly, if you want to come up front.
It's really Don Bandler.
Okay, Don.
Come on, Don.
Who hasn't heard of Hell's wreck of 1885 where engine 99 went in the river? That means everybody knows about it. It's right there in the coal bin. Don't leave the premises before you peek at it. Now Don's going to talk about it.
Heard that bell. Yeah, Don Bandler, I wrote the book Rail Rivalry Romance in 1982. It went all over the world, sold out by 1990.
We have a couple copies at the chamber if you want to come.
Yes, they have a couple copies there. And anytime I see them on eBay, I buy them, and I have new covers I can put on them. So it's a big, big wastage in a half house. But Don Miller, who was responsible for getting this building moved here, we have a map where it was down on the railroad tracks. Incidentally, this is the third time the building has been moved. It was moved twice as the railroad tracks because they kept expanding the tracks, so they had to move it to the south. But this is 120 feet long, 26 feet wide. The only freight house that's left that was the original MKT railroad. It was built 1870, December of 1870. The front part was used for passenger people. The rest of it is a freight house until they could get a new passenger station built in 1871. But the MKT railroad connected Chicago with Texas, the first railroad, and it came right through Fort Scott. So this was a front line. It became an instant success. So this freight house has a lot of history behind it. I just pointed out, you can see where carts went out the doors and how the sides of the building is worn from the carts hitting the wood. But used the freight house for a number of years. The railroad, of course, run small trains. They were probably maximum 25 cars long, but they run as many as 80 a day on this line. In later years, they run 150 car trains, but then they only run 4 or 5 a day. But in 1885, I believe it was, they had a rock slide, what we know as Hell's Bend or Dead Man's Curve, the railroad called it, which is out west of Fort Scott along the Marmaton River. And it was a good place where people would like to fish. They'd canoe out and gun parts from the dam to go out to that area. But rocks slid down on the railroad. The crew come around the curve and didn't see the rocks on the track in time. They bailed off the engine. The engine and a couple cars fell down into the Marmaton River, which was about 80 feet below the tracks. And so when I wrote the book, and it came out in 1982, the office ladies that worked at FortScottChamber said, "Oh boy, we'll get to find out what really happened at the wreck at Hell's Bend." People would come into the Tribune and want to know about this train accident because everybody talked about it. Well, as a young boy, the gentleman that started the Pioneer Harvest Fiesta was an engineer on the Frisco, and his wife was a daughter of one of the engineers on that train. And she told me, my brother, she says, everyone says the crew was killed when it fell in the river. Can't be, because I'm born, I was born. So my goal was to find that. In writing the book, I didn't find anything about it, except I found 2 pictures. And one came a gentleman that lived over here on Andrew Street, and he gave me 2 pictures of the smokestack sticking out of the river. And that is in the book, Rail Rivalry of Romance. Well, I didn't know much about the engine falling in, but I had 2 pictures to show that, no, the engine isn't there, but the smokestack was. So the next thing was, I was reading in my research, and I saved it. There was a farm sale in Redfield, Kansas in the 1930s sometime, and the auctioneer made a note, fell from engine 99 that fell into the river at Hell's Bend to be sold. Okay, now I want to find out who bought this bell. And I didn't recognize the name of the farmer, couldn't find any information on it, but it had the name of the auctioneer. And lo and behold, one day, I found out where this auctioneer lived. He lived up by Fulton, Kansas, on a farm. So I had 2 boys that worked for me that weren't married, as he can. And on Saturdays, they liked to do things. So I sent him on a mission. I said, go to this farm and talk to this farmer who used to be an auctioneer and see if you get any information on this bell, because he had the auction. They went, no one's home, but they found a pole with a bell up on top of it. So they shinnied up the pole, and they happened to have a organo with them, and they took a picture of that bell. And I printed the picture in Rail Driver Romance of the bell. Okay, years go by till about 8 or 9 years ago, Don Miller comes to my office, and Don always loved railroads. He said, you know, it sure, and he was the president of the HPA, the organization that was responsible for moving this building up here. He said, it's just a shame that we cannot find that bell that was off the locomotive that went in the river. I said, I know where it's at. He said, really? I said, yeah. I said, it's on a farm up here by Fulton. And I said, there's a picture of it in my book. And he said, well, who was it? And so I looked it up and gave the name. And he goes, his son married my daughter, Diane. They live up at Lee Summit, Missouri. He says, in 2 weeks of Thanksgiving, I'm going up there. So he goes up there, and he talked to his son-in-law. His son-in-law says, come here. And went out behind the house, and that bell was mounted on a post beside their patio in the backyard. And of course, the son told him all about the bell, where it comes from, and everything. So, of course, Don's on the phone calling me, telling me what all it's about. So, it so happens that tragically, Diane's husband died a year later. And Diane called Don and says, hey, if you want that bell to take to Fort Scott, come up and get it. So that's how the bell got to Fort Scott. You got to thank Don Miller for that.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Great story. We have a lot of great people here to tell the history of Fort Scott, and we're very thankful for you stepping up to carry it forward. So, thank you all. Next week, we are hosted by, did you have a drawing or anything? No. No? Okay. Next week, we are hosted by Front Door Real Estate, and the agents there, Jared Leak, Diane Stryler, Crystal Mason, and others with Front Door Real Estate, and their office is located right next door to Crooner's Lounge, in between City Hall and Crooner's Lounge. So join us there. It'll be a busy day because, is Rachel here? Back here. You want to tell them what we're doing that same day at 10?
Yeah. So at 10, we'll do a ribbon cutting for the outdoor fitness court.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yes. And we have lots going on. We'll have Tiger Ice out there. They're going to give away the first 50 snow cones because I know it'll be hot. And then we'll have some health vendors out there from some of the local gyms. We'll have some special guests from Blue Cross Blue Shield, the National Fitness Campaign, and Senator Marshall. And then we're also going to have a Battle of the Badges where we'll have police officers and the fire department. They'll go through the outdoor fitness court and see who wins. So they've already been throwing some punches there, and so it'll be fun. So come out and celebrate the opening of the outdoor fitness court.
Okay, so next Thursday, coffee at Front Door Real Estate, 10 o'clock, ribbon cutting down at the outdoor fitness court. 5:15, ribbon cutting and grand opening at the library. Sorry, Jennifer, but we have a new library in town. It's called the Library Speakeasy. The L is opening below Boots Ice Cream. So at 5:15 to 6. 5:15 to 6:30 next Thursday, grand opening and ribbon cutting for the library. And the remarks and actual ribbon cutting will take place at 5:30. So 5:15 to 6:30, remarks at 5:30. So very busy day next Thursday. So mark your calendars and join us. And I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July. And to entertain. Eddie?
Since Al has the floor, do we have any updates on your next project?
He wants to know if you have any other things.
Well, we're interested in it. It's up in the city. But we have about a 98 window. And it's on that side. And we love that building. I think everybody here likes it. So, whatever we can do to drive the people along.
We would love to see it safe. So,
See you
thank
next
you.
week.